Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops. Coach.
How are you, Coach?
That's good. It's September 11th.
My anniversary today.
You were married on September 11th?
In 99.
Oh, no, I know, but I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah.
26 years.
Wow.
28 together, 26 years married, happily married.
Yay for Coach.
Because this is public, I'm saying.
I remember I was teaching when September 11th happened. It was those two, we rolled in tube TVs. Remember those big tube TVs they put on rollers and roll those into our classroom, and
shout out to all the families that suffered. Take a moment of silence there, and
I know,
tragic.
I know. My brother lost a friend. Everyone was touched in some way or another on that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're doing part 1 today. We're
doing part 1.
Beginning of the school year, so Coach has gone MIA for a couple weeks, but yep.
Yeah, no, I'll set this up real quick. Yeah, you guys are going to enjoy this interview I did with Sylvia Colucci. She is got lots of energy and very extremely passionate coach. She's a volleyball coach, and she has a lot of deep insight. But her focus is really being a girls' youth life coach. So I asked her a lot of questions about because a lot of obviously basketball is male dominated as far as a coaching perspective, and a lot of us guys coach girls. So how can we do a better job there? We dive deep. This is part 1. We'll come back next week with part 2 because it was a long interview.
You sometimes have to do that. But before we do that, we have a couple things we want to definitely talk about. Coaching Youth Hoops again, because it's that time of year, and then we have a kind of a special thing that we're launching. So go ahead, Coach.
So Coaching Youth Hoops, guys, go check it out for all your practice planning needs and player development. That's right. As Coach says, if we don't have it, you don't need it. So, and if we don't have it, ask us, because we put 30 years of experience into what you find in Coaching Youth Hoops, all the practice plans, all the stuff that worked that we know at each age level, detailed with video and descriptions. Go check it out, coachingyouthhoops.com. Just print and go into practice. Easy enough. And then, Coach and I have been busy the last 6 months launching another tool. If you're a tournament operator charging gate fees, go check out sidelinesavings.com. It's a ticketing platform plus loyalty program, trying to give back to the parents as well. So go check it out at sidelinesavings.com. You can sign up on the site. Top link says operators, go there. That's you. I'm talking to you, tournament operators. We're looking for testers right now. We've
some beta testers, yes.
Some beta testers. We've launched it in a couple areas, and coaches and tournament directors, and most importantly, parents that are paying to fuel the sideline economy are loving it.
To sign up for it, trust me, it's going to save you a lot of money. So go over and check that out. All right, and let's head off to the podcast, Coach. Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Coaching Youth Hoops. I'm your host, Coach Bill Flitter. Today we have a guest, Sylvia Colucci. Sylvia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, before we dive into who you are and what you do,
Mhm.
I have a question, which is listeners are popping onto the show. They saw the title, they're jumping in. What do you hope they walk away with today? What do you want them to learn?
Hmm, that's a great question.
We'll hit
That's a
the hard
great
ones
question.
right away, right
Yeah,
off the top,
what
right?
I want them to learn is that, I mean, that less is more.
Hmm. Okay.
And yeah, less is more. And in so many ways, in how they talk to their daughters after a game, how they support their daughters during a game. It doesn't have to be daughters, it can be any athlete.
Right. Mhm.
Um, what they say to coaches before,
Mm.
during, and after the games. Less is more.
Less is more. I love that. Okay. So let's dive in, Sylvia. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start there.
So I'm a mom of three kids, two teenagers and a 10-year-old that you know.
Hmm.
Um, and so I'm a girls' life coach, and a lot of people ask me, why are you a girls' life coach? Like, how did this come to be? But I started off, I was a collegiate athlete. I played volleyball in college, but I was a multi-sport athlete all the way until I
Mm.
got to college. So it was basketball. I was I mean, this is on a side note. I was the bad boys, like Detroit Piston fan through and through.
Uh, okay. All
I
right.
was a baller
I
all the
know where you're
way.
coming from now. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where your
And
daughter
so
gets it from. I love it.
yeah, and I was number 11 because I was Isaiah Thomas. I was a huge Isaiah Thomas fan. So, anyways,
Wow. Okay.
but so I played basketball, volleyball, and soccer, and then in college I played volleyball, and it was great, and I loved it. And I became a dietitian. And I worked in sports nutrition for many years, and I had a practice that I ran, and I worked with a lot of adults, and it was great. And I grew up in Canada, and I worked in Toronto, and then I was dealing with mostly adults, and then I had my own kids. We moved to California, and I started coaching youth sports right when my son was 4. And boy, have things changed in terms of I mean, as you know yourself,
Yeah.
how things were with us when we were growing up. So I've been coaching youth sports for 17 years. And then I started coaching more competitively girls volleyball 7 years ago.
Mm.
And I work uh, for a volleyball club here in Orinda, California. And I started to see things that blew my mind.
Mm.
And I mean, especially with females. I do have a son and two girls, but especially with young girls, it's just a little different. It really is. I mean, all the things that I talk about, I see it across the board. However,
Hmm.
with girls, um, I do believe their brains work a little differently.
And
And
you're absolutely right. I mean, I often say that it's just different, and I saw you pause the same way I pause when I say that,
mhm,
and it's different when you say it versus me.
mhm,
I'm a male, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
but I've coached both boys and now
mhm,
girls, and
mhm,
it is different. And
mhm.
and it's not bad different, it's just different. And the way
It's
you,
just different. Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
coach girls and the way you and why they do sports versus boys, how they approach the
Mhm.
game. It is, yeah, it is different. So was there I guess so looking back on your athletic career and then college career and now doing what you're doing, was there a moment that just really kind of shaped and shaped what you're doing today, or just like there's obviously a passion for it, but was there
Mhm.
something that, just kind of shaped this direction early on during your journey? You thought, oh yeah, I didn't like the way I was treated then, but it was just in the back of your
Oh,
mind,
oh,
and
I see. Yes, yes.
yeah,
Okay. So, yes, actually. Oh
yeah.
boy, so what I think, um, oh, there's so many moments. It's interesting. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh gosh, where do I
Where
go
do
with
we
this?
start? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I predominantly had male coaches
Mm-hmm.
growing up,
Yeah.
and I had some great male coaches. But if you were to ask me who my favorite coach was, it was a female coach,
Mm.
and she was actually a basketball coach of mine, and I remember um, she there was just she led with love.
Mm.
She didn't lead with winning.
Mm.
And I will tell you, she got the best results out of everybody.
What does
If
that
I,
look like, though? What is leading with love as a basketball coach? Since we were, talking to basketball coaches.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So and I will say I try to model myself off of her
Mm.
and who she is. And um she she would talk to us. She would listen to us. She would ask us about us that had
Mm.
nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'll never forget this. I was uber competitive and I wanted to win. And I wouldn't say that all the kids on my team had that in their minds at the time.
Yeah. Right.
And I remember I like, I mean, I was our point guard. I got the most baskets. I scored the most points. I was a hustler. I was aggressive, and I wanted everyone around me to be that.
Mm.
And I'll never forget, she pulled me aside. I was young. I was a sixth grader. I'll never forget this. God, Teresa Laporte, I love you with all my heart. She's an incredible human. She pulled me aside and she said, she used to call me Colucci. She said,
Mm.
Colucci, I want to make you, I want to make you my captain, but we got to change things up a bit here. You got to love these girls around you, and you can't yell at them. And
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay. And I learned it young. Like she
Yeah.
says, you in order to lead these kids, you have to motivate them, empower them, make them feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I thought, this is right. Like you can't and this is the problem. Like I see a lot of coaches get angry and think that, if you don't win, you've been unsuccessful. Well, let's be clear. As coaches, we know it's in the loss that you're truly learning.
Yeah.
And that's that you're truly becoming a team and forming. And so like we would lose and I would go nuts. Like I was just like, and I was this Italian feisty kid and I was just like, okay. And I completely changed how I played and how I thought. But if it hadn't been for her pulling me
Mm.
aside, talking to me, and she mentored me, she guided me. And like, of course, I wanted to be her team captain. And of course, I wanted us to win, right?
Yeah.
But like how we got there was very different than how I thought we were going to get there.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
that was that happened when I was very, very young. And I always appreciated how she spoke to us. We felt, so this is, I really believe that as a coach, you want to make your players feel heard, understood, and loved. And we
Yeah.
don't talk about that. Like our
No.
coaches talking about love. No, like coaches today say, how do we train more, train harder? And I was telling you,
Yeah.
or more film, more hours, more practice in the gym. And I was telling you earlier, my motto is I work them hard, but I love them harder.
Hmm.
And
That's
so
beautiful.
I just, and I am a very passionate person, but um, I loved your example also earlier when you were saying, these girls want to get their ears pierced. And I go through this same thing, or for me, it's nails. They want to get their nails done.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, oh dear sweet baby Jesus, like these girls want to get their nails done and we're in the middle of volleyball season. So I say to them, but that's the joy. That like really these girls want to be girls. They
Right.
want to have
Yeah.
fun. And I do say to them, okay, make sure they're not too long because if a ball comes off your nail, let me
Oh,
tell you,
yeah.
that is painful. So,
Yeah.
we have fun around that, but every time we go to a tournament, girls on my team want to get their ears pierced. They're like so excited. This is a big topic. And
Yeah.
so if you so taking it back a step,
Yeah.
I could talk for hours, but if you what I've noticed is if the girls aren't having fun, they don't want to play anymore.
Wow.
And I say this from the bottom of my heart. Kids need to be having fun. They need to be enjoying themselves while they're putting in all these hours and working hard. And I know parents, a lot of parents say to me, "Yeah, but how are they going to become college athletes if they're just thinking about having fun?" And I say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow your roll because you shouldn't be talking to them about being college athletes at this stage in their game. They're young kids." And
Mhm.
this is where the pressure comes on. Now, as a
Yeah.
girls' life coach, let me ask you, I'll even ask the question for you, Bill.
Yeah.
But people say to me, what do you coach, Sil? Like, what is it that you're coaching these girls on? And the number one thing I coach them on is burnout. Guess how old these girls are?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess. So
Yeah.
burnout is probably 13, 14 years old.
Yep. I would say
Yeah.
13. I'd even say 12. I've had some 12-year-olds
Mm,
who are uber competitive, incredible athletes, and they're
yeah.
burning out. They're
I mean,
burning out and
the stats show it right across the country,
Mhm,
right? It's about that
mhm,
13-year-old, 12-year-old girl that boy that burns out. Because if you look at the schedules, okay,
mhm,
so y- your daughter plays basketball with me. Okay, that's two
mhm,
days a week. And
mhm,
then, I have kids that do that, soccer, and one more thing. They're
yep,
literally gone every evening
mhm,
uh, for at least 2 hours
mhm,
at the least because of travel time in between there, right? 5 days a week, and then games on the weekends, and running from
mhm,
hustling into the basketball gym, throwing off their cleats, and getting
yep,
yeah, and right, getting their basketball shoes on, and uh, I always walk this fine line of like going through right now. We had a successful spring and summer season, and setting the expectations of the director of the program. Uh, I said it's going to be low in the spring. I mean, in the
mhm,
fall. I said,
right,
and I don't want to put anyone under pressure to come play, or hey, if you don't play, you're going to lose your spot in the spring when you come back. I said,
mhm, mhm,
one, they're kids. Two, they still like playing CYO and soccer kicks up in our area, right? And I was like,
yep.
we'll be fine. Like, let's.
Bill, are you in my
So,
family discussions at night?
yeah.
Because this is exactly what we're talking about. Let me tell you.
Well, and it's hard for me too. It's like, I think about your daughter and I think about some of the other girls on my team. I'm like, oh, I don't want them to stop. But
I
down
know.
deep, I know it's the best for them. And,
Hmm.
I would even, when I was coaching high school, I would always tell the kids right after the season, I said, take at least a month off. Don't pick
Hmm.
up a basketball. Don't get on the
Yep.
court. Don't
Hmm.
just be a kid, enjoy yourself. And they're like, but coach, we're gonna lose our, where we,
Our
skill
rhythm.
level, the rhythm.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, it's actually works the opposite. Your
that's
body
right.
needs time to heal. Your brain needs time to heal. You shouldn't be rushing.
Hmm.
Cortisol levels are up constantly, right? They never come down where
Yeah.
they settle. And but you're absolutely right. I mean, so one of the things that I always say, and we talked about this too, is, and I want to dive into this. Um, well, yeah, let's talk about this. So one of the things that I found when coaching girls And the reason I changed the way I think about how I coach them is their level of confidence. And
Mm-hmm.
if I can boost their confidence, however that might be,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
through words of affirmation, actions,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing them, listening to them, right, hearing them,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to be better athletes and better people, and it's going to
That's right.
transfer over to the classroom. So we're going to come back to the topic of burnout, but let's talk about confidence first, kind of set the stage
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. Do you feel when you're talking to your athletes that, and it's again, because you focus on girls, that's a huge issue?
Mm-hmm. Um, yes, yes, it is. It is. And I think that,
But you
well,
hesitated. Why
let me
did you
ask,
hesitate?
well, because I was thinking well, confidence is everything,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
when you feel confident, let me ask you, Bill, when you feel confident, how do you perform?
Yeah. Well, dude, I can conquer the world.
Amazing.
Nothing is going to, yeah,
Right,
exactly. Yeah,
right, right.
absolutely.
Um, and what has to happen in order for that confidence to be there? What do you think?
I need you in my ear, on my earpiece, just telling me, you
Yeah,
can do this, coach.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
yeah.
this.
Uh-huh. But
Yeah,
I believe that when girls feel safe,
that's
they
interesting. Yeah.
feel they feel
Mhm.
confident.
Yeah. And
So
what does
then
safe mean? What does
let's,
that mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, great. So let's peel back. What does
Yeah.
safe mean?
Yeah.
When a girl shows up
Hmm.
and she walks onto a court or she walks into a gym, what is the culture? See, I
Mm.
really work on team culture.
Yeah.
And I think that when there's a good team culture, and that comes from the coach,
Yeah.
and it comes from the parents. It's a mixture, right? It's multi-pronged. It's not just the coach's job, but really the coaches create the culture.
Yeah.
And if you start by, setting expectations, boundaries, the girls all of a sudden start to feel safe.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
then also, I think the parents feel good about what's happening.
Yeah.
And then I also believe there has to be a boundary between the parents and the athletes and the
Mm.
coaching staff, right? I know we could talk about that. That could be a
Yeah.
whole other podcast.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
Yeah. Seriously.
but but when the athlete feels it from the coach and their parents, they feel good, and I see that the confidence goes up.
Yeah.
And so I want to take it back to like the culture. Um, I when I choose an athlete, I'm choosing not just an athlete, but a family,
Yeah.
because ultimately we're all together, right?
Yeah.
And and so and some families are a little more involved, some families are not as involved, and that's okay. It's
Hmm.
just that I think that when I create a team, I try to, and or even with these other coaches that I work with, I say to them, you are in charge of the drama that exists as well. So I really do believe that when there's a lot of drama, girls don't feel safe and comfortable. And so I really try to cut out the drama amongst the players. And
How?
even that's
How?
a good question. Yeah.
Because
Um
drama obviously is, they when you're talking about the level at which you're coaching, these girls are coming from
mhm,
different places, different high schools.
mhm,
Sometimes, maybe
mhm,
you might have two girls from the same high school. There can be drama there. Obviously,
mhm,
if you're coaching a high school team, um, you're all in the same. There's going to be, there's lots of drama that happens there because you're always together in the high school setting
mhm,
too.
mhm,
So, there's, drama happens from, the parents' influence as well. So I'm
mhm,
curious,
mhm,
how do you sniff it out?
mhm,
How do you know when it becomes an issue? And then what do you say? Just maybe you set it up beforehand because there's always going to
mhm,
be drama, doesn't,
mhm.
there's always going to be
Yeah.
something. So,
Well, that you're absolutely right. So you got to talk about it. You
hmm.
you can't. And so I always So my captains have a big role on the team.
Hmm.
And my captains are my eyes and my eyes and my ears. And
Yeah.
I want them, like, my captains aren't necessarily the top players. My
Yeah.
captains are the ones that are leaders, and it's all about inclusivity. And we talk about this. Team
Yeah.
culture is so important. And it's interesting because people say, well, when are you practicing? And I say at the beginning of every practice, we have to do a check-in with each other. And these girls, we have like what were your highs, what were your lows?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. If it's something that's greater than the team, the athlete comes and talks to me about it. But like when you say, how do you sniff it out? You see it. You can see it
Yeah.
in their expression. You can see it in their faces. And as a female coach, I get in there and I want to know what's happening, whether it's emotionally, mentally, physically. A lot of these girls, they push through injury and they want to keep playing. And I say, no, we got to
Yeah.
stop right here. We can't keep doing that because that's only going to hurt you. But then there's all this pressure that they're putting on themselves and they think they're teammates. So I really try to understand where they are emotionally and mentally and physically. And then as a team, we talk about things always that we have check-ins at the beginning of practice. And listen, it doesn't take much to know what's going on.
Yeah.
It comes out. And my captains have a big role as well to come to me and let me know if something's happening or if there's drama. And I work with all the girls individually and we talk. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm kind of laughing to myself a little bit too because I do that exact same thing. And I don't know if you've
Hmm.
come to one of our practices, we always huddle up in the beginning,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
ask a question. We reinforce the culture, right? We put the red
Hmm.
dot on our hands. If you've been listening to this
Hmm.
podcast, you know what the red dot is. If not,
Hmm.
go look for the um, podcast where we talk about it. But culture is absolutely number one.
Uh-huh.
It staves you down the road from a lot of other things that may come up or time away from
Hmm.
the actual X's and O's on the court in this case. But the argument I always hear is, oh,
Hmm.
you can't do that with boys. Like, when you start
Oh.
practice with boys, you got to give them a ball and you just got to
Hmm.
run and go.
Hmm.
And then maybe
Hmm.
you can come back and talk
Hmm.
about this kind of stuff. But and I've talked about this on the
Oh.
podcast before, how we start practice. It's like females, we talk about being, just different, is I feel that they need that communal time
Hmm.
of just coming together, talking, eye contact, talking
Hmm.
with their buddy next to them, talking with the teammate they haven't seen, right? Because they don't go to
Hmm.
school
Hmm.
together or whatever.
Hmm.
And just kind of
Hmm.
just, it's 5 minutes. And
It
you see
is.
our practice, we're dribbling at the same time. They kind of
Yeah.
huddle up with different girls or pods, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be structured, and I just let them go.
Yeah.
They talk, I talk
You're
a little
right. You're
bit,
right.
and then go.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, I
Well,
know there
well,
was a
and
lot there, like the difference between boys and girls, and
well,
is that the same for
I want to
boys? And yeah,
I
go
want
ahead.
to no, no, I want to add something about boys because I have a 17-year-old son who plays on a very competitive team. And
Okay.
if the amount of times there's been parents who have called me and said, please go and talk to the coaches because
Mm,
they have zero inner there's no talk about feelings.
yeah,
They treat them like they are robots and they're just pounding
yeah,
on them from the beginning to the end. And these boys have feelings. It might be, it is a little different, but
yeah,
they need to talk. They need to team build. Team building is so important. They
yeah,
need to know that things can get rough, but that you've got their back. They need to know that. And they
yeah,
need to know that there's someone they can go to. And it doesn't need to be like myself or you who like we could talk to them for hours. I know we both have the gift of gab, but
yeah,
it, even just a little check-in, even saying, hey, I see you, I hear you, I know it was tough today. tomorrow's going to be better. Just those four things will change the outlook, the confidence, the they need to hear it. They definitely don't need to be yelled at and beaten down and like God, some of the things I hear coaches say to their athletes, I was at one time thinking about just writing or in a podcast talking about the things I've heard parents say to their kids
Well, we're going to come
after a
back to
game.
that. Let's do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to have you
yeah,
back
yeah.
on the show and we can
I know,
dissect
I know.
that.
We'll
And
save
we'll
that for another
go,
time.
yeah,
But
definitely, because
like,
there is so much there. And even the well-meaning
yes,
conversations or
yes,
hey, I need hey, I'll buy you ice cream if you score
yes,
10 points today. And like,
yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah,
please
no,
don't.
no, or
Yeah.
no. I hear you.
Yeah. So,
Oh my gosh, Bill,
yeah.
we can talk a lot about that. But I did
Yeah.
want to just say, like, boys need it as well. And there's different ways you can do it, but they still need it. They need that
Yeah.
touch point as well. So I I do think that um it might come a little well, it's one of the things I was going to say earlier was
Yeah.
what I find happens when you huddle and you talk and you hear
Yeah.
each girl say their high and low. The girls will be very vulnerable, or it takes one girl in a team of 12 to say something that's maybe not been great. And I'm telling you, the compassion that pours out, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they need to feel that. And the other girls also need to see that, hey, I'm not the only one, because it might be one who's speaking about it, but it's happening to everyone at different times. And so that's where the energy changes and the bond in the community builds. And
Hmm.
I also think the confidence comes over time with that as well.
You can see
That
it. We had and I see it more so obviously in my older girls, but definitely it's there with the younger
Mhm,
ones. They're just learning, the young ones are just learning how to be present and on a team and
mhm,
what that really means.
mhm.
But as you get a little bit older, I my eighth grade team, uh, they'll say this, and so I'm not, we were just bad. Like, there's this like and I was like, you're not like from an athletic standpoint, you're not like you get it, you know what to do, you know how to do it, but together for the first, I don't know how long it was, maybe 2 months, just
Mhm,
stunk once we got on the court. Like
mhm.
nothing worked. And
Right.
what I realized was, oh, it's the time together. They're not,
Mhm.
it was a lot of new people, right? And it was a
Yeah.
big
Yeah. They didn't
transition
know
from
each
the year
other.
before. They didn't know each other. And I'm like,
Mhm,
oh my
mhm.
gosh. So as soon as I didn't change anything, I just kept on steadfast, meaning I didn't change anything on
Mhm.
the X's and O's side. We were just,
Yeah.
kept on grinding, kept on doing it because I knew it was going to work. But what changed was their time together, their
Mhm.
out of practice time together, and then we went from, I don't know, maybe winning one game to winning a lot,
Right.
right?
So I was going to ask you that question, not to cut you off, Bill,
Yeah,
but
yeah, good.
I am good at that. But to the point that you just made,
Yeah,
how much time do these girls have together outside of basketball, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's important. And
Hmm.
it can't just be teaching them a
No,
skill,
yeah,
doing this drill. Like we can all do these drills, but what are we
right.
doing to bond and getting to know each other and
Yeah.
right? So I
Well,
think you're absolutely right about that.
one of the things that, and because you're on my team, and I'm going to say this, and I know I failed this year, was always have done, we call them comfort zone challenges.
Yeah.
And in years past, we would take the girls to the downtown shopping area as a great example.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
all parents supervise. So just if anybody's like,
Yeah.
what? You taking
Yeah.
kids? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. There was groups there were two girls to a group with a parent. And parent
Yeah.
was they were just there observing way far in the background. And we couple of the challenges that we did were you had to approach a stranger and sing karaoke. and asked them to sing karaoke. It had to be
Oh, I
recorded, and it
love
was a
it.
challenge. Or had to do Rochambeau with a stranger.
Yeah.
But it was always
Yeah.
something where gets outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And what I always did though was I did the pairing, and I did it deliberately. I
I
wanted a
love it.
girl who was
Yes.
overconfident and another one who was like, I am never going to do this, coach. You're
Yeah.
not going to make me do this.
Yeah.
And at the I knew the overconfident one was going to encourage because that was part of the challenge. They both had
That's
to
right.
do it. They
Yeah.
they had to record them doing it, right?
Uh-huh.
And then whoever, and it was timed, and I can't remember all the details to look back, but anyway, we used to do this religiously. We always had these challenges, and talk about a pouring gas on a situation where girls didn't know each other, and just like from that, accelerated how the bonding piece, the laughing, and
I
the shy
love it.
girl wasn't so shy anymore, and
Hmm.
she's like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
anyway,
I,
that
I
was
love, I love,
something that
I
we do
love
want to
that.
boost their confidence, and also just to
Yeah.
create some bonding experiences
Well,
outside the
and
court.
it's outside the court, and like they're getting to know each other.
Right.
Something I do is we'll do like a scavenger hunt, but
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
they'll
we do
do
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
The,
absolutely.
they have to do it blindfolded. So,
Oh,
so it's like a
fun.
close, yeah. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
and I do the same thing where I put them together. They don't really know each other. They're new. And
yeah,
I say, okay, you have to communicate to them what you're looking for, and they're laughing and giggling and, oh, no, walk to the left. No, 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 no. Actually, put your hand in, and like, excuse me, the girls they're opening up. Like you see this, I mean, they're nervous. They're
hmm
scared, you
yeah,
even. And then all of a sudden you just start to see this is fun. This has nothing to do with volleyball in my case. And we're
yeah,
just going to have fun right now. And we're going to get to know each other. And like they got to hold hands sometimes, or they link arms, just even that. All these little touch points really um, build bonding. And look, it's like this. If you and I had to work together on something,
yeah,
or uh, if we had to build a house, let's say, or we had a project to do at school, are we going to be more successful if we actually get to know each other, like each other, learn about each other, or if we know nothing and we just get thrown in and you're just like,
yeah.
well, what's going to create success? What's going to create ease? What's going to create confidence? What's going to create enjoyment? Right? Like it's nicer when there's that bond, and I mean it's just life.
Absolutely. Right, exactly. And
Um,
that's where they're learning it. And sorry.
mhm,
That's where they should be learning it. And if
mhm,
I said I don't coach, I teach. I don't coach
mhm,
basketball, I coach confidence, right? And as soon as I put
mhm.
those two things together,
I love it.
it changed me as a coach, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
sports was supposed to be, youth sports was supposed to be the time that we
Hmm.
taught them life skills in a fun atmosphere where
Yeah.
they're more, for example, as you know, with kids, you're not going to say, hey, let's talk about how to work together as a team versus,
Hmm.
hey, let's do this on the court and I will demonstrate and have fun at the same time. And you're going to learn how to, right?
Hmm.
Of course, the kids
Hmm.
are going to gravitate to the playing together, to the that type
Yeah,
of things
yeah.
together versus being lectured. So that's, again,
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.